Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It helps out the algorithm a lot. It is a free and easy way to support the channel's growth. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As always, a lot to cover. There's been a lot happening within the last 4 days. The excitement has re-rushed back into the cryptocurrency space. As far as I can tell, now apparently there are a bunch of different things in widely varying directions. I had a couple of friends, of course, texting, mailing me, what's going on, what's happening with the market, blah, 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 blah. As far as we can tell at the time of me making this video, and if you know something else that's been going on, please chime in because I feel like it's multiple things. Apparently, there are reports that China is printing tons of money again. They have officially begun their QE, their quantitative easing. There are reports that apparently there is a trade deal, tariff deal between the United States and the UK. And there are rumors that in Switzerland, something else is also brewing between the United States and China as far as a trade deal, a tariff deal, which has gotten a lot of people very excited. Passing by, I believe $97,000 was the kicker, the thing that we needed to get Bitcoin to push over $100,000. This part I saw no news on, but then I saw people talking about it afterwards. Apparently, Ethereum had their Pectra upgrade. I saw no, this isn't half of a joke. I saw no news about this upgrade happening or that it was already done. Nowhere. Apparently that happened, and that caused that one day where you saw the actual push up of 21% in Ethereum's price. What else was there? A bunch of shorts were liquidated. There's so many different... It apparently wasn't just one thing that got us to where we are. And the expectations have grown even higher. And I say this in a very nice way and not in a rude or mean way in any fashion. A couple of weeks ago, there were some people popping up on Twitter who were like, yeah, the market's over. It's done. I've come from the framing like something has to happen. Like the market has to move. We can't continue to remain at these low prices forever. A lot of other people that morphed into kind of Bitcoin's going to go back down to 40,000. Bitcoin has to hit 53,000 again, and maybe we can move back up. And it's like, no, there's logically too much buying pressure. Like there's too much going on with this coin to, I say from my vantage point, to sit there and think that something amazing isn't going to happen. So anyway, as we currently stand right now, the buying hasn't slowed down by any stretch of the imagination. More institutions keep getting into the space, and we're actually hearing from some old friends as to what they're going to be doing with Bitcoin in the coming future. And I mean, you got to understand, as someone who's been here this long, when the market used to move off of like really basic news, the stuff that we're getting now is really completely out of control. I need you to understand that. Maybe you've entered crypto within the last year. Maybe a lot of this news is very blasé, or maybe it was even more so when prices like literally weren't moving. So maybe that's what's going on. But you have to understand, like, this news is like cataclysmic. It's not like, oh, that'll be cool, them buying up all the Bitcoin. Like, this is really something like, I said in another video, Bitcoin's not for normal people anymore. I think that sometimes when I say these things, I think that people think that I'm trying to like rally, rah, 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 like shaking my fist in the air and trying to. No, I'm really letting you know that like this is a once in a multi-generation opportunity. This isn't like a fly-by-night thing. This is something that's being integrated into every facet of what we know as finance. Like, you have to really like take it upon yourself to not only research more, but really understand what it means for like the US dollar to be crumbling, for countries to purposefully be putting billions of dollars into Bitcoin specifically. Not into gold, not into buying more land, not into buying international real estate, into Bitcoin by itself. To hear that there's not like so yes, this is often what I mean when I'm like prices are too low. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but we're going to begin to see a lot of that more reflected, I believe, in the very, 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 very near future. This was obviously very popular news, and I need you to understand also. I think at this point that it's more like a piece of insanity as far as what they're doing. What they're actively working on is going to work. It's not going to falter, what have you. However, the lengths at which they're actually doing this, it's beginning to become like a bit like they're actually like insane, like with their methods and what they're trying to do. You'll understand what I'm talking about. And as I've said before, and as I've stated in other titles of videos, this is a really bad time for Bitcoin investors who don't have enough Bitcoin. This is a really terrible time for retail investors who aren't understanding what's actually in front of them. You know how I've said dozens of times, I'm like, it's a huge, gigantic shame that we've once again already swapped back into a world where the rich are literally already hoarding everything, and now they're buying up all the Bitcoin, this brand new asset class, and we don't get new asset classes we get one every 100 years. And then to have people within crypto, you wouldn't believe, you could not begin to believe the last 4 days, the amount of chatter I've seen on Twitter about meme coins and buying this meme coin and this and I sit there and I go, okay, well, I guess it's just part of the cycle. There are people who are going to want to create generational wealth, and there are going to be people who really I see the comments on Twitter. A lot of people just want to make a good $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 right now, and they want to go live their best life in this moment, and in 3.5 years when all that money is gone, they'll come running back to the cryptocurrency space trying to recreate it. There's no real sense of longevity. MicroStrategy is, of course, once again back in the news, this time more diabolical than ever. MicroStrategy is making another big move in the cryptocurrency space. So you know how MicroStrategy announced before their 21-21 plan? If you missed it, in short, basically, 21 for 21 million Bitcoin. Haha, got it. Secondly, they stated last year that this year they would find a way to accumulate or get $21 billion through fundraising methods, and they would then spend that $21 billion, not a billion, $21 billion on Bitcoin this year, and then $21 billion on Bitcoin next year. Sounds feasible for what they've been doing. The company has disclosed a new $21 billion at the market common stock offering to further extend their Bitcoin reserves. Makes a lot of sense. The new offering is part of the company's MicroStrategy. So remember, they had the 21-21 plan. MicroStrategy now has a 42 42 plan. I assume, logically speaking, you can see exactly where this is going. The new offering is part of the company's recently launched 4242 Capital Plan, which aims to raise $42 billion in equity and another $42 billion in fixed income by the end of 2027. So you see, my friends, what they're currently doing now is 21 billion this year, 21 billion next year, and then two rounds of buying 42 billion US dollars worth of Bitcoin. So when I tell you that there's not a lot of Bitcoin left, when you see that the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges continues to dwindle, in case you've somehow missed the last couple of weeks of videos before we had a little price pump. Before that, we were hearing that the amount of Bitcoin on crypto, and it's also lower now, the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges has not been this low since November 2018. When we heard also, for those of you who probably also missed it, the amount of Ethereum on crypto exchanges has not been this low since 2016. Do you know when Ethereum was began? It was 2015. After the project was released and the coins were entering crypto exchanges, it hasn't been this low since a year after this coin came out. So now you see why that rise by 21% makes a lot more sense, if you will. It's because there's so little crypto on exchanges that if you have actual buying pressure, it causes the price to rise. I don't know if it was here or on the other channel. We were discussing the idea of, what do you call it? Someone kind of said, like, put your money where your mouth is, to Michael Saylor and all the other big crypto investors. They said, you talk a really big game, but what you're mainly doing is buying over the counter. They said, if you really want people to see how great, awesome, spectacular Bitcoin actually is, you would buy directly on market at market rates. Do you know what one purchase of $21 billion, one purchase from MicroStrategy, would do to the price? It would probably mathematically raise it anywhere from 60 to 80% in one day. That's not a fake number, by the way, because we've been given those numbers before a couple of months ago. We're not going to go over them. MicroStrategy's current plan is to literally double down from the 21 billion to a $42 billion raise. This capital plan expansion builds on the previous 21 plan authorized in October and reflects MicroStrategy's aggressive Bitcoin accumulation strategy. As you might have imagined, this was, of course, incredibly popular. We are going to continue to see MicroStrategy do things like this. We are already seeing other corporations, institutions doing things like this, and I believe other people are basically going to have to expand in this diabolical way if they plan on actually keeping up with MicroStrategy. The United States is probably, unless something changes in the next 24 hours, the United States is never going to have as much Bitcoin as MicroStrategy. We also have heard from Capital 21, if you missed that video. It's a brand new company that has launched, merged together. They're looking to go public relatively soon. The money that they make from the company, all of the money will exclusively go into Bitcoin. Exclusively. The whole point of the company is to issue shares, and then per share, to make their investors richer. It's called BPS, Bitcoin per share. They're starting out with 42,000 Bitcoin, and they are probably going to have at least 500,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. At least, bare minimum. So cool. As all the Bitcoin dries up, as all the Satoshis continue to disappear from the market and people continue to sit there and write comments that I'm being dramatic or it's not really that bad or there's always going to be more Bitcoin, I say good luck to you. I mean, in the simplest, nicest term that I could possibly say it. Everyone else out there who's been paying attention, I was asking recently on Twitter, did everyone remember to buy the dip? And a lot of people did. Congratulations, you get a golf clap. When we fell down to $70,000, a lot of people were like, hey, this seems pretty undervalued, so we'll see what ends up happening. That's the MicroStrategy is going to be buying. Not only another 21 billion and then 21 billion next year, but they're also planning on raising enough money to buy 84 billion US dollars worth of Bitcoin. And yeah, let's move on. Here's the actual other thing that they posted recently from another accumulation that they did at the end of April. Also in the news. So how do I feel like a lot of times, it's not sometimes, I feel like quite often that me and you, many of us don't exist on the same planet, and I don't really know why. In unpopular news, from 2027, new anti-money laundering rules will come into force in the European Union, banning anonymous crypto accounts and the use of private coins such as Monero and Zcash. There's also Dash and I think one or two other ones that never really caught on. When I say that I feel like sometimes we live on different planes of existence, this was incredibly unpopular news. Because a lot of people were like, the EU's wrong, they shouldn't be doing this, we need private transactions and a bunch of other things, etc., etc. And I ask, please answer me, because if you're actually on Jupiter, I'd like, tell me how you got there, how long was the flight? I'd love to know. You know that governments don't like private transactions, right? You know at some point this was going to take place, right? You know there's a reason why we heard from the US and the EU and many parts of Asia that they were like restricting crypto exchanges back in 2018 from even having these coins on their platform. Remember years ago in 2017, 2018, 2019, people used to ask me, why don't I have these coins in my portfolio? And I was like, because they're going to be banned. They're only usually used by people who want to have private transactions. The other thing usually ends up being is people go, well, we should have more private transactions, or we should live in a world where, and then it loops back around to what kind of planet do you think that we're living on? You understand that everything you're already doing is tracked and traced, right? You're pretending as if like you didn't know that this was going to happen. I really like that this is an actual thing that bugs me from time to time, because people, whenever we get news like this, for those of you who didn't see, this was about a month ago. It was on Binance. I literally forgot exactly which coin that it is. I want to say Zcash. I want to say Monero. I don't remember. One of the coins is going to be delisted from Binance. And I believe the co-creator, someone went on Twitter and ranted to Changpeng Zhao and Binance. You're stopping freedom. You're stopping love and hope and whatever they said. And I was like, Did you think that your coin was going to thrive in a world where everything we do is tracked and traced? And even the delusion, a lot of times, people sit there. Oh, here's a good one. People sit there and they go, well, at least we have more freedoms than China. In China, everything is being tracked and traced. You know that there are like facial recognition cameras everywhere, and I'll focus this heavily on the U.S. You know that there are cameras everywhere that you go, right? Have you ever watched the news and you see that there was like a heist somewhere, or someone did something on like West 23rd Street and Avenue 4000 East, or whatever these street names are called? And then they find the person like 38 blocks away. You know how? It's because there's cameras everywhere. Now, and I will say it this way. It's not that I believe that there should be cameras everywhere, but you understand the world that we already live in. You're acting like this is taking away something that you knew was already going to be. It's like having a pacifier when you're 16 and being like, what? I can't have that anymore. It just doesn't, it doesn't, a lot of the logic isn't there. There are facial recognition cameras in every supermarket you go into, nonetheless banks, when you walk down the street. A lot of you have cameras all over your cars, inside of your cars, outside of your home, inside of your home. And then you get annoyed when a coin that has private like, what are you talking about? Like, what in the world? You buy things on eBay through PayPal. You use Apple Pay, you use Google Pay, you use Samsung Pay. Is that a thing? It sounds like it. You tap your card in your phone everywhere. Like, it just doesn't. I never really get it. And people in crypto get riled up. You are already you're using the internet. You know your IP address is being tracked. Like, I told you that before years ago. This has always been a topic of discussion within the crypto space, and I'm not sure why. And I had to tell people, and people in the comment section were like, no, that's not a thing. You know that when you hover, listen, if you're on Instagram or TikTok or BlipBlop, whatever you get your stuff from, you know, when you hover over something, the algorithm is literally like realizing that you like that one thing, and your data in every platform, it's not just those, it's everywhere. Your data then gets sold instantaneously to like the highest bidder. That's how you keep getting targeted ads. They know everything about you. They know where you shop. They know where you live. They know what you order on Uber Eats. And this is usually like part of the confusion. You point and laugh and say, well, they have more, they're being controlled. And it's like, yeah, you might want to look into that a little bit more. Here's a tweet from the European Crypto Initiative, still figuring out what the anti-money laundering rule means for your crypto business. We get it. It's dense, it's new, and it's critical. That's why we put it together in the AML handbook. That's a little dystopian. We break it down for what you need to know and what you need to do to stay compliant. As far as I can tell, having read around, this seems to just be for companies, as far as I can tell. So it appears as if you can still use these coins that no one can know where they're going. But it appears to be businesses will have to begin to comply if you are working on a cryptocurrency exchange, if you are starting a cryptocurrency company. This is what I'm getting from a lot of the news that I've perused about this particular topic. But yeah, I don't know where this confusion comes from about the world that we live in and the way that things are. So yeah, I'm sure this will not affect 99.9% of you. And to the other ones who it does affect, you can apparently still use these things as long as you don't go to a crypto exchange. Anywho, that's another batch of popularly unpopular news. And yeah, let's moving along. Also, this was logical because people are interesting. OpenAI CEO, his name is Sam Altman, his digital identity project, known as Worldcoin, is facing challenges in Indonesia and many other countries after local regulators temporarily suspended its registration certificates. For those of you who don't know, this continues to bombard quite often the cryptocurrency news space. I haven't gone over it because this project is a literal scam and it's actually garbage, and we're gonna get into it. Part of what Worldcoin promised, I believe this launched 2 years ago. I believe it launched 2 years ago, was basically a brand new Bitcoin, something betterer and awesomer and amazinger than anything we had ever seen. It would basically allow you to have control over your cryptocurrency monies and all these other things, which Bitcoin and Ether and XRP and dare I say Tron already allow you to do, but this had a new way of allowing you to do it. In order to receive some Worldcoin, you needed to give the Worldcoin people your biometric data. Yeah, so that was also a really fascinating thing that popped up because that's literally like one of the number one no-goes within the crypto space is like no biometric data. Like these Bitcoin is for you, and it's amazing because you don't have to go into a bank to buy it. You can get it and not, that's kind of the point of the original idea of Bitcoin. But Worldcoin says, no, hold my blockchain. And they were scanning people's irises and basically their it's literal biometric data to be able to give these people coins. With no one signing up for it, the Worldcoin people decided it was time to basically go one step further and go to countries that specifically were struggling economically. You might remember this. You can also Google it. It's not a secret. And they were going up to people and telling them, hey, we will give you $10, $15, or $20 worth of Worldcoin. Just put your head right there and let us scan your eyes. And I said years ago, I was like, uh-oh, red flag, gigantic, humongous red flag. And they're still at it. They're still trying their old tricks. And a number of countries have banned them and said, no, you cannot do this to people because you are essentially exploiting them. That's what exploitation actually looks like. The Indonesian Ministry of Communications and Digital Komdigi has halted the Electronic System Operator Certificate Registration TDPSE for Worldcoin and World ID over suspicious activity and allegations regarding violations, the ministry announced on the 4th of May. After the suspension, Komdigi plans to summon world local subsidiaries PT Terang, Bulan, Abdan, and a lot of other names to clarify the allegations, it said. Yeah, I saw this and I was like, are we supposed to be surprised? This is an actual technology review from MIT for those of you not looking at the screen. It says, deception, exploited workers, and cash handouts, how Worldcoin recruited its first 500,000 test users. The startup promises a fairly distributed cryptocurrency-based universal basic income. So far, all it's done is build a biometric database from the bodies of the poor. Yeah, you can find articles on it. This was major news years ago, and people were trying to defend it, and I was like, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen, really, in my entire life. The other really crazy part that people don't seem to get. Now, hear me out here on this one. Logic for you guys. Hear me out. We already have Bitcoin. Boom! We already have Ether. Kablooey! We already have XRP. Kapow! A lot of these people keep creating these companies under the guise or the idea of, well, we're doing it to save humanity. We want a fair and easy distribution of this cryptocurrency. Do you know what you could actually do? Is you could go to these countries where all these people are struggling, and instead of taking their literal biometric data and handing them garbage, a coin that is going to go nowhere, so that you can build a database of millions of people around the world, Why not give them $20 worth of Bitcoin? Oh, snaps. See how that changes everything? You don't actually care about cryptocurrency. You don't actually care about blockchain. You don't care about equality or helping other people around the world. And if you just rolled your eyes, I swear to goodness, if you rolled your eyes when I said the word equality, leave this channel right now. Yes, people, yes. We all should be equal. We all should have a fair chance in this world, all of us. I'm not talking about holding hands and kumbaya-ing, but we should all be equal. If you have a problem with that, dude, the door's right there. Bye, see you. For everyone else who's still here, yeah. Remember years ago, all these other projects, they were constantly launching or they were forking Bitcoin. It's just greed. If you really want to help out several million people, you have the money. These people are billionaires. You have the money they were giving them literal $20 bills. It's not figurative. They were handing these people literal cash. Why not give them Bitcoin instead of Worldcoin? Why not give them Ether? Why not give them another coin that's going to actually make it as opposed to... Anyway, yeah, this was really, really big news. There was another country that also banned them a couple of weeks ago. And then there was one, I think, in February or March, somewhere around there. Some other news that also popped up. Yeah, it's nice to see governments banning garbage. That's a great way of saying it. So as we continue to see more Bitcoin adoption and more governments are buying and mining Bitcoin, just try and stay away from the garbage because eventually it does begin to stink. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be, I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.